right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Just Ignore Them, Brea Story, Tape 1. If you will recall previously, not sure how long it's been, but I know some time ago we did cover the first Just Ignore Them game. And in terms of what this is, I'll go to the notes here and it'll explain here. On her way to cover the biggest story of her career, Brea Tenna fumbles her way into a dark, mysterious town called Ash Pines, the birthplace of the tragic events that took place in Just Ignore Them. Brea's story is a prequel to my previous game, Just Ignore Them, taking place right before her interactions with Mark. So it's kind of an in medias res prequel at that. The adventure game is heavily stylized after Hideo Kojima's classic titles Snatcher and Snatcher SD, combining the two elements together to give you a more unique experience. Okay, a language note here. You're either unique or you're not. There's no degrees here. Unique literally... Unique means one of a kind.
I know, but adjective absolutism is something that has fairly long been sacrificed to the
fair enough.
of actual language use.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Golics ended up with this game, as is our, maybe not policy, but I do like to mix things up when it comes to covering the next thing of a thing, in terms of reviewers. So, you know.
So yeah, this isn't a point and click adventure game. This is a walk and interact adventure game, and it does generally matter whether you interact, look, or talk at things. It has... The keyboard controls were a little bit janky to me, but it has functional controller support that worked better. At least the keyboard controls are ambidextrous. There's a left hand and right hand option for each thing. I don't know if they're all equally good, but whatever. So yeah, this is definitely a prequel to it's the story of another thing, or like it's based on another thing, and B, I believe it is only part one of this side story.
Well, it literally says tape 1 here.
Yeah. So I, not having played the other one, had to do some research to figure out what was going on, kind of. The character writing is decent enough, but the options for what you can do in the game are pretty limited. I played for a while and then had to stop, but later on, when I was going to play it again, I looked up a guide for it to see if I could make it be a little bit faster, so I did less walking around and interacting with everything, or trying to, and I saw that the full playthrough of it, if you know approximately what you're doing, is only a little over an hour. So yeah, it's a fairly short. There's generally only really one. You can get flavor text by talking to or looking at things that you don't have to, but for the most part, are you trying to figure out what to do, Petty?
A little bit. Yeah, kinda.
Do you have the cigarette and the lighter?
I don't have the lighter, I have the cigarette.
Assume that's a no.
Yeah,
I have the cigarettes, I don't have the lighter.
I think the lighter is in a drawer in, like, the bedroom or something. Anyway, just get that and then go smoke by the ashtray. This was one of the things that took me longer to figure out. Anyway, like I said, there's a limited number of things you can actually do. And so I think the lighter is in the box if you look at the box.
Oh, they're doing that.
Like I said, it matters what you do. Anyway, there's fairly limited. Also, the original game is a horror game. This game is it's horror-ish, but there are really only a couple of scenes that actually escalate past spooky or slightly uneasy. So you're not quite like, this is the story of basically how she gets involved with some of the scary stuff that happens in the actual Just Ignore Them game, apparently. There are 2 monsters you see on screen at various points and don't actually interact with either of them. They're just there to be scary. Well, sort of interact with one of them. Anyway, yeah, there's just like, what there is of it is good, but it really feels incomplete, which makes sense because it's incomplete. And even if it was complete, it's like the prequel to another thing, you know?
Uh-huh.
So you pretty much always just have to do or figure out how to do what Brea says to herself that she's going to do. There's only one segment where you have like a choice of going between different areas. And even then, there's fairly limited stuff that you could do at each of the areas you go. Also, having to interact with doors to open them was a little bit weird. There are a couple of times where you seem to have a choice that I don't think you can actually do, but I'm not sure about that. Like, there's a code that there's an option where you have a thing where you can either force a lock or unlock it with a code, but I don't think there's an actual way to get the code. Maybe that will be available once there's more tapes. You know? There's not a whole lot to it, but again, it's just the beginning of a thing. So the controls are a little bit weird, and there is a run button. Apparently, I couldn't figure out what it was, but the movement is a little bit slow, and that might help because there's a point in the game when you can't run. That's the only reason I know. The music is mostly solid music for a game that's trying to be spooky. That's about it. Yeah, do you guys have any questions or anything? Because I'm not quite sure what else to say about this.
Like, the gameplay looks identical to the first one.
Yeah, the style is I think the pixel art style is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I think we're good here.
Okay, yeah. I've seen that the price is $2, which at that price, that's fine. What?
Yeah, that's the sale price.
What's the full price?
Yeah, the game clocks in usually at $2.99. So
that's still fine, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if it was $5, I might say that that's a little bit much for what they're offering, but.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, there are other bundles here. The Story Matters, the Stranga bundle, and Scary Stories. We've covered some of these games. Like I want to say we covered My Big Sister. I know we covered Red Bow, and Just Ignore Them, the first one.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, Stranga does pretty good work within this genre or subgenre of adventure game. So I think the bundles here, none run more than $10. So I think the bundles are worth getting. which one, that's up to you, the purchaser. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's about it for Brea's story here for the time being. In terms of reviewing tape 2, well, it has to come out. And I imagine we'll probably end up getting a copy of that. So we'll see that in the future. With that in mind, be sure to tune in after the break as we will be reviewing Nightmare Reaper.